Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. I'm your host, Will, here again. I know it's been about a week, but we're gonna talk about sports again. We got a lot to catch up on. It's been a week, and we're in the conference finals now for the Stanley Cup Playoffs. We're in the NBA finals for the NBA. We can talk WNBA, Caitlin Clark. We're gonna talk some baseball. We got a lot to cover. And the Champions League final was today. We got a lot to cover today. And not a ton of time to do it. So I'm going to try and get through all of this real quick. So I'm going to start with the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. She's been someone I've talked about for a while. Followed her for a while. And the WNBA, they've not had that. The Indiana Fever has not had that good of a season. They're only 2-8 on the year, but they got their first home win today, 71-70 over the Chicago Sky in the WNBA Commissioners Cup. That's their version of the in-season tournament. And I think their version of the in-season tournament was actually implemented before the NBA's. I think last year they had it before the NBA implemented it. Caitlin Clark didn't have her best game today, but she helped the Fever win. She was 4 of 11 of shooting for 11 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, only 2 of 9 on three-pointers. And the important thing is only 2 fouls, only 5 turnovers. And most important thing, they won. So they've struggled to win so far this year, and I was talking about it earlier. I don't know if I talked about it in my last video. This is Caitlin Clark's first season, so she's playing against better competition in the pros, and she's going to be playing a lot more games this year than she's ever had before. She just played 40 in college, had a month off, and then jumps into the pros, having to learn the plays, learn her teammates, build chemistry with them, learn the new rules because there's some slightly different rule changes, and there's just better play and more physical play. So she's going to have to adjust to that in the WNBA, and we've seen flashes of it. Just the other day in a loss to, let's see, where is it? Just saw it a while ago. Come on, I know it's there. Well, that's why I'm on the wrong thing. Here, we'll do this. There it is. So in a loss the other day to the LA Sparks, they lost 88-82. Caitlin Clark dropped 30 points. First 30-point game in the WNBA so far. She was, what was she on the night? She was 7 of 16 from the field, 3 of 10 on three-pointers, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 30 points. And she joins just a very select company of players to score 30 points as a rookie and have 5 rebounds and 6 assists. So she is, she's already beginning to do things that only a few other players have ever done. We're going to see that as she gets more confident and continues to improve, and especially in the years going forward when they get better players around her, when her team improves. I don't want to put her teammates down, but as the team improves. There was a reason that they got the number 1 pick last year. They weren't that good of a team. And as we're seeing this year, the team just is not as good. I thought they might be able to be like a 500 team or slightly above 500 and maybe outperform what people were expecting. But it kind of looks like they're underperforming so far this year. They're looking to maybe go for the number 1 pick again. The little that I've watched, they struggle to score at times, and the other teams just do everything they can to stop Caitlin Clark from beating them. And they're going to continue to see that, and it's going to be perhaps a long season for the Fever, but I love what Caitlin Clark's doing, being able to play and perform on that level, and what she's doing for women's basketball, and bringing all this eyes and attention to the game. I think that's a good thing as we continue to go forward. We're going to continue to see the WNBA have more viewers, and Caitlin Clark perform at an even higher level as she continues to get better and at the pro level. Now that's what I just had for the WNBA, just a little bit on Caitlin Clark and how she's doing. We're going to move over to hockey now, real quick. Well, we'll do baseball first before we get to the playoffs. As you know, I am a New York Mets fan. This was they are my pride and joy, but also, my downfall. I know the Mets just always make life hard. Now, they've won the last 2 days, beating the Diamondbacks. They were losing earlier today. I think I think we actually lost. We lost 10-5 today, but we won the last 2 games against the Diamondbacks. The Mets have just had a awful season, and it needs to be talked about. Earlier this week, our pitcher was ejected from the game or taken out of the game, and he threw his glove into the stands, and then was after the game made some very disparaging comments where it sounded like he said, "This is the effing worst team in baseball." But there is some people disputing that, saying that English is not his first language, and he was trying to say that he was the worst teammate in baseball. Regardless of whether it was him or not, it was still not a good look. Throwing his glove into the stands when getting taken out was not a good look. And the Mets designated him for assignment. He's no longer on the team. And like past years, this is just another distraction. The Mets are going to Mets. This is another odd distraction out of left field for whatever reason that just seems to take away from the season. A few years ago, the Mets had to fire the guy who dressed up as the mascot because he flipped off the fans. So it's another thing that just detracts from the season. But the Mets won the last 2 games. I know we got kind of killed today. I think the Mets will play better perhaps as the summer goes along. I think we're going to see flashes of what this team could be, but the issue is the starting pitching is inconsistent. The bullpen, which was the strength early on, is running on fumes now because they've been overused. And the lineup continues to show that it can't hit consistently enough to win games. This is, I don't understand why Buck Showalter was to blame for why the team was bad last year due to a lot of injuries. I don't think he should have been fired, and as we're seeing this year, Buck Showalter was not the problem. The problem is, I think, partly the culture and partly just not bringing the right pieces in. Now, there's hope for the future. The Mets have some young talent in the minors. Some have got to play this year already. Christian Scott, he's been sent back down, and Jose Buto has also been sent back down. He was sent back down a while ago. But there's hope. These guys have flashes of talent. Luis Angel Acuna, Ronald Acuna Jr.'s younger brother, he's in the Mets organization. Ronnie Mauricio is out this year with an ACL injury, but he'll be back next year. Those are 2 really young guys that could perhaps help this team going forward. And the Mets, I think, will revamp either at the trade deadline or in the offseason and perhaps acquiring some pitching, because that's really the team's need, is starting pitching and maybe another bat. But you've got young talent, so you don't really want to take up too many positions in the lineup when you've got young guys coming up that you think could be here for the foreseeable future. But quickly go down a rundown. Aaron Judge has been on a tear recently. He's at 20 home runs on the season. Excuse me. Aaron Judge has 20 home runs on the season, and looks like he could be the front runner for the AL MVP at the moment. He's got 45 RBIs as well, and he's got the Yankees in first place at 40-19 on the year. They're a game and a half in front of the Orioles. The Cleveland Guardians, Indians, the Ians, whatever you want to call them, they're 39-19, lead the AL Central by 5 games over the surprisingly good Royals. All that young talent is starting to pay off for them. In the West, the Seattle Mariners are surprisingly leading that division by 3.5 games over the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. And the Astros have kind of made a resurgence here recently after their horrible start. They're 26-33 on the year. Texas is just 28-30. The Astros are 6 games out of first place. The Rangers are 3.5. Kind of surprising that the Rangers and Astros have both not played well early on, giving the Mariners that lead. Over in the National League, you've got the Phillies at 40-18 are leading the East. The Braves are 7 games back. It looks like the Braves might not win the division this year. And Ronald Acuna Jr. tore his other ACL this past week, so he is out for the season. That's a huge blow to the Braves, but the last time that he tore his ACL, his other ACL, the Braves won the World Series. So the Braves fans are holding on to that, and they still have a very talented team. But the Phillies are playing at a high level, and the Phillies have a dangerous lineup and good pitching. Might just be the Phillies' year this year. My Mets are 16 games back in the standings. That's not good. I don't see us making that up. Maybe a wild card team if we somehow get hot. But the NL Central, we've got the Brewers at 35 and 23. The Cardinals are 6.5 back at 27 and 28. The Cubs, who are off to a good start, are now 28 and 30. They're 7 games back. The Pirates, who are also off to a good start, are 27 and 31 and 8 games back. And the Reds are 25 and 32, 9.5 games back. The Reds have a ton of young talent. They just don't have enough pitching, and that seems to be hurting them in terms of competing. But the NL Central is pretty close. You got a bunch of teams there that are not far off from each other in the standings. And then in the NL West, we have the Dodgers leading. They've 36 and 23 on the year, 5 games in front of the Padres, who are 32 and 29. The Giants are 29 and 29. They're kind of middle of the road team. They can be good. They can kind of get bad. They're kind of middle of the road. And then the Diamondbacks, the defending NL champs, are 9.5 games back at 26 and 32. The worst team in baseball currently is the White Sox at 15 and 44. They are not off to a good start at all, and they are not drawing fans to games as well. They are just not having a good season. As bad as the Mets season seems to be, the White Sox is 10 times worse. Trust me. They don't have much going for them. But, yeah, that's about all I've got for baseball and what's supposed to be a short video. I know I'm running a little long now. We're 11 minutes in. We'll talk more about baseball in the next video. I want to do some videos that go more in depth in baseball. So we're going to move over to the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Tonight is Game 6 is actually about to start between the Rangers and the Florida Panthers. My New York Rangers against the Florida Panthers. Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Rangers lost game. The Panthers won Game 1. The Rangers won Games 2 and 3. And the Panthers have won Games 4 and 5. They won Game 5 Thursday night 3-2 to take a 3-2 lead in the series. Game 6 is tonight, and I'm predicting the Rangers will win tonight to force Game 7. I'm going to go Mark Messier. I guarantee that the New York Rangers will win Game 6. So that means we're going to win Game 6, win Game 7, and go on to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, or Stanley Cup Finals, hopefully. Now, over in the Western Conference Finals, the Oilers hold a 3-2 series lead. They won 3-1 last night over the Dallas Stars. That series has been a fun one as well. The Stars had, I believe, the lead in that series at one point. Let me pull up the games so far in the series. The Oilers won Game 1, Stars won Game 2 and 3, and the Oilers won Games 4 and 5. So that series is taking a similar trajectory to the Rangers series, with the lower seed winning Games 4 and 5, and the higher seed looking to try and force Game 7. Stars-Oilers Game 6 is tomorrow night, Sunday night on TNT. The Rangers-Panthers is on ABC tonight at 7. It's about to start. It's actually, 18 minutes away from starting. I've currently got it on my TV here. They're getting on the ice to do warm-ups. Mark Messier and them are in the studio talking at the moment. But this is an exciting series. This Rangers-Panthers series has been a great one. This series is going to go down as a classic series. This has been a great series. It's phenomenal. It's gone back and forth. There's been some heated moments in the series with the teams fighting. Some great goaltending by Bobrovsky and Shesterkin. And for the Rangers to win this, Shesterkin has to play shutout in goal, and the Rangers have got to score, especially on the power play. They've struggled so much scoring on the power play in this series. That's really been their big bugaboo. That's why they've not been able to score more. That's why they've not been able to win more. They've struggled and when they've had chances to score, and in Game 5, they had a ton of chances to score where they just had good opportunities, good moments, and they either fan on the shot, miss wide right or wide left, or it somehow gets blocked or saved. While the Panthers have been given those same opportunities and chances, they eventually find a way to score. So that's been really the difference in this series so far, why the Panthers have a 3-2 lead. I look for the Rangers to win Game 6 and force Game 7. And I'm going to say that the Oilers get it done in Game 6 tomorrow night to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think it's going to be Rangers-Oilers. That was my pick before the playoffs started, was the Rangers and Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. And I had the Rangers winning it, of course. I might be a little biased, but I think the Rangers have a very complete team with they've got some depth in scoring. They've got just some really solid players. They play good defense. They have arguably the best goalie in the league. And the Oilers, on the other side, I think have the most talented players with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, as well as, I believe, is he leading? Yeah, he's leading the playoffs in goals scored is Zach Hyman. He scored 54 goals this season. That was a new career high for him. He had a phenomenal season. 54 goals, third in the NHL, and he's leading the playoffs and scoring at 13. The top 4 points scorers in the playoffs so far, all on the Oilers, with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, and Nugent Hopkins. Hope I pronounced those last 2 guys' names correctly. But the Oilers have been phenomenal in terms of scoring. If they don't win their first Stanley Cup this year, they're going to win it soon. This is a talented team, and it harkens back to the 80s teams when they had Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and Paul Coffey playing for them. So this Oilers team is like that. Those teams come back to life, and so the Oilers are a coming dynasty. I think they're a team that's on the rise. I think the Rangers are also a team on the rise. They got a lot of young talent. Alexis Lafreniere looks like he could be a future star in this league. But that's what I have for the Stanley Cup playoffs at the moment. I think it's going to be Oilers and Rangers in the finals. I think my Rangers are going to force Game 7 and then win in Game 7 to go to the Stanley Cup finals. Moving over to the NBA playoffs, we have the NBA finals start this next Thursday. Excuse me, sorry. Just a Texas Roadhouse. It's between the Celtics and Mavericks. This is a little bit of a surprise. I don't think anyone's shocked that the Celtics are here. I think there is a bit of shock that the Mavericks are here, though. They upset their way over the Clippers, over the Thunder, and then played the Timberwolves, who a lot of people thought would either win it all or be playing in the finals. They beat the Timberwolves in 5 games. They were up 3-0 in this series. They almost shut out the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves did manage to win Game 4, 105-100, to stay alive and force a Game 5 back in Minnesota. But the Mavericks won that 124-103. Kyrie and Luka just go together. They're just special, I guess. It's a year of destiny for Dallas. They have the Stars in the Western Conference Finals of the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and the Dallas Mavericks are in the NBA Finals. And this is just a year removed from the Heat making the NBA Finals and the Florida Panthers making the Stanley Cup Finals. So we're kind of seeing perhaps a little bit of last year being repeated in the Western Conferences of both leagues now. But this series starts this coming Thursday. The Celtics swept the Pacers, I should mention. They swept them 4-0 that series. I figured the Celtics would win that series. I think a lot of people did. I don't think many people picked the Pacers to win that series. And with Halliburton missing games 3 and 4, there was really no chance at that point for the Pacers. I thought they can maybe steal a couple games, maybe force it to 6 games. But without Halliburton, you're without your best player, it's just hard to win. And the Celtics are too good of a team. We got the line just dropped now. It just updated. It looks like the line for Game 1 is Boston by 6.5 points. I'm gonna pick Boston to win this series, but the way the Mavericks have played, I would not be surprised if this goes 7 games. So I'm gonna say Celtics in 7. That's gonna be my pick for this series. I think it's going to be a great NBA Finals between the Celtics and Mavericks, a team that has 1 NBA championship and a team that has 17, who's looking to get 18 and move into sole place ahead of the Lakers again. They're tied right now with the Lakers with 17 titles. And the Mavericks are looking to get their second. So I'm picking the Celtics in 7 games, and we're going to briefly talk about the last thing here is the UEFA Champions League, which was earlier today, between Real Madrid, who's won it 14 times, more than double what the next closest team has won, which I think is 7 by AC Milan, I think. And Borussia Dortmund, the team that's only won it once before back in the 90s from Germany. And Dortmund kind of went on a Cinderella run to make it here, knocking off other big-named teams like, who they knock off in the semi? They knocked off Paris Saint-Germain in the semifinals and the quarterfinals. They beat Atletico Madrid. What group did they come out of? They come out of a group with PSG and AC Milan and Newcastle, and Newcastle's had a decent year in the English Premier League. And Dortmund, surprisingly, have not done well in their league, at least compared to where they normally are. They finished 5th in the Bundesliga, so they won't even qualify for the Champions League next year unless they win the Champions League final. But they fell to Real Madrid 2-0. Real Madrid captures its 15th title in team history, more than double the amount of the next closest team. They really are the New York Yankees of soccer. They didn't score until the 74th minute. Early on, I watched the game. Dortmund looked like the better team early on. It looked like Dortmund had a bunch of chances to score. They just can't get it in net. And it's kind of what I talked about with the Rangers and the Panthers earlier in the playoffs. If you struggle, if you don't score on the chances you get and then you allow the other team chances, it's very likely that they're going to score and you're going to lose. Successful teams find ways to score when you give them the opportunity. And that's what happened in this game. Dortmund did not take advantage of the chances that it had early on. They didn't score. In the 74th minute, Dani Carvajal, I believe is how you pronounce his name, scored for Real Madrid to give them the 1-0 lead. That would be the winner. They won 2-0. It's only his second career goal in the Champions League. His last one was scored 8 years ago. And then they scored one. The cherry on top is Vinicius Jr., I believe that's how you pronounce his name, in the 83rd minute. That really put the game out of reach because Dortmund struggled to score, so getting up 2-0 was huge for them. Real Madrid captures its 15th title, and Dortmund has some questions going into next season. That's all I've got for this video. So if you have, let me know your thoughts down below on the Champions League. What do you think of Real Madrid winning it? Who's going to win the Stanley Cup Finals? Who's going to win the NBA Finals? What are your thoughts on the MLB season so far? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.